Let's get into it. So as always, I'll keep this quick, clean, and easy. I'm gonna go over today's session, and then I'll go over my pre-market game plan going into tomorrow. So beautiful analysis, right? Trusting our levels. We took our 2 shots last week, bad price action at open, but we couldn't get it. But we knew what we were looking for, right? I've been teaching you want to be in a trade down here before we get back up here. So beautiful day. I mean, for this weekly candle to start off this way, super solid. So, pull back long, market is still intact to the upside. This is market structure. That's what I'm trying to teach you. Still intact. So we pulled back to 653, and we're moving higher. So today was a solid day. Look at this daily candle here on SPY. Now, you already know what I'm looking for, right? For me, my A+ shot is to 653. I know a lot of people made money on this last week on Thursday, when it did set up, but this is still my trade that I'm looking for on SPY, right? I want to see this channel. You know what I'm teaching you. I want to see this channel turn into support. Seeing a daily bull flag here setting up. If I can get this, that is a super solid entry. You're getting in on the dip, trend continuation to the upside. Now, let's go on the intraday, 15-minute. Super solid. I mean, I'm very excited, for this community that we're building. You guys don't even know. God honest truth, I get a handful of emails a day. I would say like on average, maybe anywhere between 12 to 20 emails a day of people just sending me screenshots of them cashing out. And today was a pretty cool one just because I'm going to explain here very thoroughly. Someone explaining to me, this individual, they were able to catch this, but it's not the trade. It's them finally understanding what I'm teaching. And they're telling me, hey, Kel, it's starting to make sense, right? Trading is becoming a little bit easier when you're trading with the higher time frame, the trend, continuation. But I understand that this is hard, right? I've been saying, this is very hard because this takes time. It takes a lot of mental capital as well. And something that I say is our job as traders is to control our risk and our emotions. We do not control or try and predict the outcome. So what I mean by when I say this is hard and it takes some getting used to is when the overall market is pulling back, or a stock that you're looking back or looking at is pulling back, and you're looking to do the complete opposite of what it's doing. It's pulling back, but you're looking to go long. That takes time. That does take trust. It's easy in hindsight. It's easy in paper trading, but when you're putting real risk and capital on, it does become a little difficult. But if you apply what I'm trying to teach you on these high RR trades and the highest probability setups, it becomes easier, right? Repetition, robotic, systematic. So, someone catching the pullback long today off the 661.80 into this high day push, they got over 100% return. And that was super cool because I know the average trader is coming in, you get a high day push, we break through the lower day. Let's just say, you don't have any higher time frame key levels marked off. You're like, all right, we just broke through the lower day. We're definitely bearish. We're reversing. But they understood, all right, cool. I'm looking for a pullback long off my 661.80. And guess what? If it fails, I'm risking, this much to make this much. See the difference there? So for them to, understand that and they take their shot and they're still learning and get this high day push, that's super cool to see. And you only had one down close candle into this push, which is really, really cool to see. So I just wanted to thoroughly break that down a little bit and give you some insight there. Now, let's say you missed that trade. You got another break and retest over 667.35. You're bullish bias. You're not looking to short. You got good displacement. The trend is your friend and the dip is what? Your best friend. So coming into tomorrow, for me at least, my main watch here is just 673. I've already showed you on the daily how, if we get out of this, we're no longer in this channel. So for me, this is my A+ shot, 673, right? You can see last Thursday, this held. A lot of people made money on this trade Thursday. This did hold. Ultimately we ended up selling off, but if you got in that, that break and retest on 673 last week, you got paid very well. Now, the reason I like this trade a little bit more, and it's not really just a bias, is because now market pulled all the way back twice and held our weekly level 653. So market structure is intact. We got the big pullback on the weekly time frame. Now we're just looking to join this trend and get this move higher. We're just looking to join the trend. That's all we're looking to do, right? I mean, you see, you got the break and retest today and a push into a new high day. Super solid there. So for me tomorrow, the only way I'm really looking to touch SPY is a break over this. I will be eyeing this thing like a hawk. Qs, super solid. So I was looking at Qs today as well. This was on my close watch list. Unfortunately, we did not get a retest here. Go watch that live trading session, my pre-market analysis. You see, I say this is really a key level here. This 595. I love this, right? Because we'll be outside of this channel. We'll be over the previous day high, which means price is likely to continue higher. I also love this setup is because during the pre-market, we never swept the previous day high's liquidity. So I really like this breakout here. And guess what? The breakout was so strong, we never got that retest. But you're looking for the trend. I'm sorry, the dip. The trend is your friend. So if you waited and got the break and retest over, 602.85, we got the solid break retest. This thing pushed up to 207. Super solid day on the Qs. The trend is your friend, the dip is your best friend. So going into tomorrow, we'll go here on the daily. You guys know what I'm looking for. I've been talking about this thing probably since October. I took my shot last week, watched that weekly recap. It was a high probability shot. But the same thing like on the spot, what do you notice every time? we push up into here, sellers step in. Now, on the daily, what's the one thing that really stands out about this 61280? Not only is it a key resistance level, but something that I've said, we have yet to really get that break and retest on the daily and continue higher. I want to see this channel turn into support, because remember, all of this is a channel. Yeah, we are bullish bias. We're looking for longs, but all this is a channel, right? I mean, continuation, consolidation, next leg higher. So anywhere in between, 612 and 587, technically we are sitting sideways. I want to see all of this channel turn into support. Like I broke down on the SPY, I'm seeing, this bull flag set up here on the daily. That is a solid entry. I took my shot last week. If it sets up again, like I told you, I'm taking my shot again. So for me coming into tomorrow, this 61280 on the Qs is my key level here to watch. Now, we know we're in channel. If you're looking to scalp this, if you're looking to trade it, we know we're bullish bias. This is a solid setup too here on the Qs. I like this. Why? Because obviously you're taking a long off of a daily and 4-hour level, but you're also over the previous day high. I love that, because now it's also increasing the probabilities of this trade working out, because you're no longer in a channel. You're outside of the previous day high and low range, which means price is likely to continue higher. So that's a super solid setup. If you can get that tomorrow, a break and retest over 607. I love that the confluence here is the previous day high and this key level. That's a super solid shot. So you can keep an eye out for that tomorrow. Tesla's setting up. Now, let me start on the daily. As always, start on the higher time frame. What do I love about Tesla? And I'm noticing this pattern here. What do you notice every single time we push into 419? Which to the damaged body tells the story. Every single time we push into 419, we cannot get a daily candle closure above this. Every time. Every time. So, we got the setup on Monday. We got the setup on Thursday, right? We get a push above it. I mean, this is pretty high up. We break through this thing very, very strong, but we can never close above it. Sellers step in very aggressively. So I see this as setting up. I want to see this turn into support. Let's go here on the 15-minute, give you a better visual. Well, actually, let me start with my 2-minute. So I was looking at Tesla today. Like I said, I'm a risk manager before I'm a trader. So I never got a really solid break and retest for me. Like I said, all this is easy, in hindsight when price is already developed. But let's look at this here, right? This is the high day on Tesla, right? Give me one sec. This is the high day on Tesla. So we keep getting, this push into the high day, and sellers are stepping up very aggressively, right? We ended up pushing all the way back down under our key level. So I was waiting, for a bigger, like something like this, a displacement like this, and then that. I never got that. You pretty much just got an instant break and retest. So I understood it. If I take that, I'm playing the momentum. I didn't really like that. I'm a risk manager before I'm a trader. So you see how this candle closed, this big this big green bullish candle. If I got a candle like this, like close above it and then that retest, that is super solid. I was looking for that. I never got it, so I skipped it. So, but you knew coming into today, right? As long as you're above 410, we're bullish bias, and you were looking for a break and retest over 410. So if you caught that, kudos to you. Now, let's go here on the 15-minute. Actually, I'll go to the 30-minute. Now, you can see, right? Every time we get over 419.10, we can't get above this. We can't hold above it. We already saw that on the daily. What I love about this is, all right, we know we're avoiding this tomorrow. What I'm looking for, and I loved how today we closed. I'm actually very happy the way this closed today. If we can get a break and retest over 419.10, this thing is setting up. I love this. There's nothing in this way to the upside, right? You can target, this unmitigated liquidity, whatever. But there's nothing in this way. This is a very high RR trade. Like I'm saying, right? We're getting in at the bottom of the range if we're able, to catch a long position off of 410 or off of 419. If you got your long position today off of 410, like I've been teaching you, the bottom of the range, and you held this, there's really no reason to sell. You got this push all the way up to like 420 plus, right? So that being said, tomorrow, for me, my 2 game plans is a pullback long off of 410 or a break and retest over 419. These are my 2 key levels I'm looking to go long off of. This thing is setting up. This thing is setting up. Now, if we fall under 410, we know we're bearish bias. Anywhere between 410 and 398, no trade zone. I'm hands off. If it really wants to stay heavy, I do love a short under this 398.20. The reason for that being is because we're also under the previous day low, and we're bearish bias under 410. So that's a high probability setup. We won't be inside of this channel. So Tesla looks really good. Don't sleep on this thing. This thing is setting up. You cashed out today if you caught a break and retest over 410. So tomorrow, 2 things, right? 419.10 or a pullback long off of 410. This thing's setting up. I really, really do like it. I'm noticing, we don't have a problem getting up here. We don't have a problem at all getting up here, but it's holding above. So if we can catch that move where we actually get a daily candle to form, break and retest above here and get in at the bottom of this range, and this thing gravitates higher, that is a solid setup. So watch those 2 key levels going into tomorrow on Tesla. NVDA is setting up. NVIDIA is setting up. So I've already told you, I'll zoom out here on the daily, give you a better visual. But I already told you, as long as I'm under 184.50, I'm hands off because we're really just in a channel. And then you can see the last 3 days, we've just been in between 184 and 179. It did its job last Friday, pull back long. So you're sitting in here, you got in at the bottom of the range. It did its job. We know we're bullish biased on this name. Today, really not a high probability day. You can see the first 15 minutes, it did nothing. We opened in between the previous day high, the previous day low, and this thing was just dead smack in the middle of the range. So it's really nothing there. Now, what do I love about, this 184.50? right? I mean, we know it's a key level, being respected very well, but if we can get this, right, and this sets up where outside of this channel, we're over the previous day high, and it's a lot of built up liquidity. I mean, look at this. This is a key level here. We've been stuck under this for about 3 days now. So tomorrow, I see this as a lot of built up liquidity. I mean, we can clearly see it with our own eyes. If you can get this over 184.50, that is a solid shot, right? Last week, last Friday, the market did its job. It pulled back on the weekly. It held structure. Now we're just looking to find the trend continuation. We're just looking to find the trend. We're just trying to get a perfect entry. Well, there's no such thing as a perfect entry, but we're just trying to get in so we can join this trend as this thing moves higher. And you're starting to see that set up on a lot of these names, So tomorrow, 184.50, that's the key level I'm looking for here. Obviously if we gap above it or break above it, I'm looking for that, or I'm looking for that. If we stay under 184.50, I'm hands off this name just like I was today. Reason for that being, I'll go here on the daily. I've already showed you this because of this. It's just a channel. Just a channel. I don't want anything to do with that. We can clearly see there's nothing going on in here. This is a low probability environment. Just kind of like I broke down on the SPY and the Qs, right? I'm seeing this set up here. I'm seeing that set up. This is a bull flag setting up on the daily. I love this. So if we can get in over 184.50, that is a solid entry. Apple. Now, I've already said this. Apple is, in my opinion, this is the best looking name on the daily when it comes to technical analysis, right? I've been teaching you market structure, we trend higher, consolidation, next leg higher, consolidation, next leg higher, consolidation, next leg higher. Now, what do you notice here on the daily? Every time we push up into this 275.90, we cannot get a daily candle to close. And we push up to this thing on the dot. So you know what I'm looking for. I want to see a big displacement candle form above this and get one of these. I want to see this channel turn into support. That is a very solid setup. Now, you've got to be patient and hold your water here, because today we were only 32 cents away from being back at all-time highs. So this thing can really just, hey, go up, do a little peak and fill and do that. That's very valid if it does so. So I'm looking for this tomorrow over 275.90 or a pullback long over 271.40. Now, tomorrow's probably going to be the last day I have this 271.40 on my chart. The reason for that being is because you can see, right, we're just sitting between 275 and 264, right? We're clearly just sitting in between these two levels. So I'm looking for this tomorrow, right, just because. Look at the daily candle. We got a break on the daily. Now we'll love to see a retest here. But, tomorrow if it stays, under 275 and it just does this, now I'm just going to get rid of 271.40 and I'm only looking for a pullback long off our 264 or a break and retest over our 275.90. But tomorrow your two key levels to go long off of is pretty much all three. You want this, but you got to wait for proper displacement. A pullback long over 271.40 is very solid. I doubt, we'll be that heavy, but if we are, this is even a valid shot as well off our 264.05. We know we're bullish bias on Apple. You're just looking for the break and retest or pullback longs. Lastly, AMD. So, go watch that live trading session. I actually had AMD on my close watch list today instead of NVDA. AMD is back in play just because now the IV has finally gotten some common sense and we're sitting back in the normal range. Today was around 60. Remember all last week, AMD was just sitting at, 130%. I was like, yeah, I'm not touching this name. So once again, very aggressive entry here. So I skipped this trade. I was looking for it. We got a break, solid displacement here, retest. So if you're able to catch that, off this 209.25, super solid setup. My pre-market game plan, I explained all this, in my live trading session. My pre-market game plan on this name, and the reason that I like this setup is because clearly, right, our 214 is a key level. You can see acted as resistance here. It's the previous day high. So boom, you get that high probability shot, and you can see we broke over 209 and we broke all the way above 214. So it was a solid setup. I just didn't like the price action, so I skipped it. Now, as long as we're in between 225 and 203, I'm neutral on AMD. I'm neutral. I'm not bullish or bearish bias. Now, if we reclaim 225, I'm bullish bias. If we fall under 203, I'm bearish bias. We can't forget, this thing has a $30 plus gap fill to the downside. Last Friday, if you caught it, you got a beautiful break and retest under 203, and this thing pushed all the way down to 195. I was looking at it, but I skipped it just due to the high IV, like I just explained. But today, super solid, right? Super solid setup, continuation, beautiful. Not the best price action, but slowly but surely, it did get higher. Now, tomorrow, what I really love, how today closed is, we held our 214.85. If we can get one of these, right, or let's say it just, it opens above the previous day high and we pull back to this, I love this setup. Why? Look at all this in volume. There's nothing in its way to the upside. There's nothing in its way to the upside. This is a high RR trade. That's what you want to be in. High RR trades. This is a high probability shot. So I love this. I will be looking for this tomorrow on AMD. Break, retest over 214.85. That is solid. If we stay under this, I'm pretty much hands off. Why? Because a break over 214.85 is the bigger RR trade, right? I don't really want to take a long off of 209 into this and then expect some sellers to step up. Today, the conditions were different because this was the previous day high, right? This was a key resistance level. Well, support, turn resistance, right? You see support, We break under, turn resistance, fall under. So today we reclaim that and turn old resistance back into support. So the context was different today. So if we fall under 214, I'm pretty much just hands off. I'm really just looking for something off of 203 or a break and retest over 214.85. And like I said, if we reclaim 225, I'm back to being bullish bias. So hope this helps. Hope you guys had a good day. Appreciate the love, support. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let's keep this thing